Hi, I'm Mayor Bobby Lindemood. In case you haven't heard, I want to share with you all about the plans to expand our current Heroes Park into a beautiful new Heroes Park. I'm standing in the current park, and as you can tell, there is some room for improvement. We want to make sure our heroes are honored in a beautiful, significant way. Keep watching to get a glimpse of the new plans and to hear from citizens who helped design it. In January 2023, the City Council appointed a Citizens Committee to evaluate what should be included in a new, improved Heroes Park. The committee met over a series of months and toured other veteran and memorial parks in the region to generate ideas.
My takeaway from the tours was very impressive, especially the one in Irving, and the one in Keller also was impressive. It had the cutout of the military guy in a salute where the visitor could stand behind it and salute in the place of the opening. It gave us a lot of suggestions that we coupled into Heroes Park for Colleyville. So it was very impressive, very helpful, and prompted a lot of additional ideas.
Out of all the tours we did and all of the parks we visited, the one that I think had the most impression on all of us was the one with the sculptures, because they were lifelike, they were life-size, they weren't a picture, they weren't little. They gave them, credibility to that's a soldier. I mean, to us, that was the most impact that we had, was seeing those sculptures.
Also, the committee worked on a design consultant for a conceptual plan, which was presented to the City Council on June 2023. The Council then moved forward with the full engineering and design, which has taken most of the last year. During that time, there have been design updates and public meetings, an open house for community feedback, news articles, and social media posts to provide updates to the community. As you can see, the current Heroes Park is located south of City Hall on the north side of the South Lawn. In the new plans, the park will shift over the South Lawn on a much larger area. The road in front of City Hall will continue southbound through the current Heroes Park, providing a connection to the south parking lot. The road section between City Hall and the South Lawn will be closed to provide for a connected campus environment.
I love the aspect that Heroes Park is in a community gathering place. It'll be very visual. It's not away off somewhere forgotten. There's going to be a lot of community events in this area, and we're always going to remember our veterans when we're there.
It can't be taken in just one sitting in 5 minutes. It's going to take some time. The good news is that while they're here looking at other events, they can stroll through the park and take time to look at it.
I mean, it's not tucked away in a corner where you have to plan a trip to go there. It's right in the middle, by our library, by our city hall. It's where the car shows and the concerts will be. Even if you're paying a water bill or something, you'll see the park and peek over, and you may decide to take a tour of it before you go back home.
The new Heroes Park will include a large open space to continue hosting events. There will also be a double-sided stage, water features, seating walls, shade, and landscaping. Accent lighting will be installed throughout the entire park.
When you walk through there, when you're invoking emotion and you have the water feature going, and you can hear that water trickling down, and it just the calmness and the overall feeling of serenity when you're passing through, because you can hear the sounds of nature, but you're going to hear that water most of all, not the street, not the cars passing by, but that water feature.
On the southeast corner, there's an area dedicated to Colleyville's history. Information panels provide background on the early communities that settlers formed. That eventually became Colleyville.
I think it's nice that we're going to show a history of Colleyville from the time before it actually became a city, showing some of the other small communities that were absorbed by Colleyville in 1956, I believe. And some of our roads are named after those communities: Pleasant Run, Bransford, Cheeks-Barger, a family that was lived in this area. So the history is important, I think.
The area focused on heroes recognition will be the section closest to City Hall. There are large conflict walls with information about the wars that the U.S. has been involved in, as well as a Colleyville connection for each.
I really love that Heroes Park also shows the educational value of learning about the wars that the veterans have served in, and also the aspect there's a Colleyville connection with all the wars, and those are on the monuments, that we can see how Colleyville contributed to each war.
I think the conflicts is an interesting thing for the younger people in our community. A lot of people don't know about those conflicts. They weren't even around then. So I think recognizing the past as well as the near present is very important.
There are also lower walls with space for plaques recognizing Colleyville's heroes. These can be both military and community heroes.
Well, the individual plaques is a great idea because it's going to take into effect the local heroes that people think that they deserve a plaque in the space, and also in future, because we're not through yet. Every time we think we're through with the conflict, a new one comes about, and so it gives additional spaces for future use.
Up against the south side of City Hall, you will see large U.S. and Texas flags with bronze sculptures for each branch of the military facing them in salute. In the middle will be an eternal flame sculpture with lighting to mimic a flame. At the end of each large wall, you will also find flags for each branch of the military.
We have so many details, it's hard to pick out just one or two. But the eternal flame, I think, is something that's very significant to me.
It's an 11-foot structure that's going to be lit. It's going to look realistic, and every time we gather as a community, we're going to see that in the background, and we're going to remind ourselves, the ones who've served and the ones who've given their lives for our country.
It's important that the younger generation see the sacrifices that the people that came before them, the military, that they sacrificed and died for our freedoms.
I've lived everywhere, and never have I lived in a community where I've felt so involved. And being invited and having my family's history and my son's, history, honored and respected by my community, I mean, it's priceless.
The citizens can come in and pay their respects to our military, veterans, to our police officers, to our firemen.
There's so many people who have served our community in a fashion that they have been heroes, that those people need to be recognized.
They're the protectors. They're the ones who run toward danger, while most of us try to avoid danger.
When I think when people walk through and they can see, the faces behind why we are the country we are, the heroism behind why we have the freedoms we have, and what it took to maintain those freedoms.
I remember a year ago, Darryl Worley was here, and he sang one of my favorite songs, Have You Forgotten? People, the citizens were just standing up, waving their hats, their hands, and no, Colleyville has not forgotten. And the way to visualize that is in a park, that we can really see and visualize and show that we have not forgotten in Colleyville.
Thanks for watching and learning more about the Heroes Park project. The City Council will be voting on a contract in a few weeks, with the construction beginning in late October. We're excited to recognize our heroes, and I hope that you are too. Thanks for watching, and God bless.